everyone. This is Henny Espinosa with Just Wish Foundation. Today we are joined by Liz Scott, Executive Director of Alex's Lemonade Stand, whose daughter Alex inspired a movement of good with her willingness to help despite facing her own battle with childhood cancer. Thanks for joining us on Just Wish Foundation, Liz.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.
Liz, Alex is the second of your four children, right?
That's correct.
Shortly after her first birthday, she was diagnosed with a type of childhood cancer called neuroblastoma. Now, tell us what that moment was like for you and your husband, Scott, when you found out about the diagnosis.
When we learned that Alex had neuroblastoma, we were young parents. I was 26 or so. My husband was 27, and had never really known anyone personally who had childhood cancer or anybody in her family, friends. So needless to say, it's an indescribable feeling. It was that feeling of panic, just absolute panic, feeling almost like you're going to spin out of control, but then very quickly realizing that you have to hold yourself up, and you have to help your child and all our children, but you have to be there for your child, and you have to talk to the doctors, and you have to think about the questions you want to ask. It was a really overwhelming time. It's a really, really hard time.
I can imagine. Now, despite doctors doubting that she would ever walk again, tell us how Alex showed courage even at 1 year old when, she moved her leg at your request for her to kick. Tell us about that moment.
So Alex's cancer had gotten so large before she was diagnosed, her tumor, that when they went to remove it, just to kind of explain why she was paralyzed, her spinal cord was compromised, the blood supply was. So in that process, her body, she was too weak. It didn't recirculate her blood supply as I guess it typically would. And she was paralyzed. And when she came out of surgery on her first birthday to remove this big tumor, they said she was paralyzed and she would most likely never walk. And I couldn't imagine what kind of life she would have.
Yeah.
But she very quickly showed us that, first of all, you can smile and play and have good days, despite those obstacles, and despite the fact that she couldn't really move from her chest down. But she also very quickly showed us that she was gonna, make her own path. And within a couple of weeks, we saw signs of movement in her legs when we would tell her to kick her legs. And from that moment on, we signed her up for physical therapy, and she had, all the best care, but she worked hard. She would scream and cry when that physical therapist pulled into the driveway. But she would do everything she asked. And over the years, she was able to overcome not, the paralysis in terms of she regained some movement. She was considered partially paralyzed, that still had a lot of weakness, but she never regained sensation. But despite that, she really, through hard work, was able to learn how to walk first with a walker and eventually without a walker, in her own way, as long as she had touch points and things she could kind of use to get around the room. So I think it was just showed us all the kind of person she was.
Yeah.
And now, having said that, I should say, she didn't have a traumatic spinal cord injury, right? And that's a very different thing. She had a spinal cord that was compromised from lack of blood. So there was an opportunity for her to regain movement. I just think she made the absolute most of what was given her.
Of course. Tremendous courage at such a young age. And also early on, Liz, she showed selflessness and generosity, right? Tell us how she started her first cancer fundraiser in your front yard with a simple lemonade stand. This was at age 4 years old, right?
She was 4 years old. So, from that point on, when she was diagnosed just around the age of 1, she went through all of the known cures over the next 3 years. So by the time she was 4, nothing had worked. And we were facing a clinical trial, or basically put her on hospice. And we decided to go the route of clinical trials. And we told her they were brand new treatments. And it was very exciting because we needed her to be excited about going to a new hospital to experience these clinical trials. And she responded well. Her cancer really got pushed back, and she felt better. And that inspired her to do more, I think, because it was shortly after that, and she said that treatment worked and she wanted to have a lemonade stand. And when she pushed and pushed to have the stand, and I said, what do you want to buy? She said, I'm not keeping the money. I'm giving it to my doctors so they can help kids the way they helped me. So I do believe she was inspired by those, quote, brand new treatments, and thought this is something all kids should have, and decided to sell lemonade in our front yard. And I thought she'd raise $5 or $10. She raised $2,000 the first day, and just showed us how people were going to embrace what she was doing.
I'm so sorry to bring this up, but take us back to 2004. This was when Alex passed away, right? At age 8 years old. What was that moment like for you, Liz? And what prodded you and your family to keep her memory alive by helping others the way she did?
In 2004, she had just turned 8 years old. Her cancer had responded well to these experimental treatments, and she had had 3 great years, but nothing was working. And we knew that she didn't have much time. And she decided she was going to raise $1 million. And it really became this call to action, which resulted in people having lemonade stands all over the world to help her reach her goal. But by the time she passed in the summer of 2004, she was 8.5. She had reached her goal of raising $1 million. And that's important because obviously it was meaningful to her and to our family at such a hard time to have so much support, but because it really set us up to continue what she started, to take her wish of helping other kids and really turn it into her legacy and the foundation that we have today.
So a year after, that's when Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation was officially founded, right? Tell us about its mission. I know you kind of explained its essence, but what are your programs? What are its mission? What are its goals?
So our mission is to change the lives of children with cancer and their families, and we do that in a number of ways. First and foremost, we fund research into new cures, and that was something that, excuse me, Alex believed in, and something that our family saw firsthand could change lives, very much so, even though Alex wasn't cured. We had 4.5 years more with her. So we fund research all over now, in other countries too, primarily in North America. We're just expanding to other countries. We funded, 1,500 projects at 150 different hospitals. And these are all focused on finding better cures for kids, curing the incurable, finding less toxic cures. And then we also have some family support programs, which complement our research programs. And we provide travel support for families who have to travel for innovative therapies, like many children do, to access those latest therapies. Our family had to. We pay up front for them to fly or stay in a hotel, whatever they need. And then we have a sibling support program, and we have a photography program to help families capture beautiful memories with their children. Excuse me. We have a number of educational materials, and really what's most important for people to know who might know somebody whose child is battling is we have a family services department. If a family needs help and we don't have the exact program for them, they will really work hard to connect them to another organization that does.
Wow. Since Alex set up her first lemonade stand in 2000, you have raised more than $250 million? That is so amazing.
It has been, it's hard for me to even wrap my head around it. Over $250 million, going on $300 million probably by the end of the year. And that's the result of many, many, many people having lemonade stands, participating, getting involved, using their talents, raising money, asking their friends to donate. Our wonderful donors, our great, sponsors and corporate partners. So many people coming together to try to change the lives of kids with cancer. It's really incredible. We're so lucky.
How prevalent is childhood cancer? Just give us an idea of why this kind of help is really, really important.
So although, childhood cancer is relatively rare, I think everybody knows someone, right? Someone from their child's school. Sometimes it's a relative, someone in their family who's had childhood cancer. In this country, in the United States, it's a #1 disease killer of children, and it has been for decades, actually more than sort of the next 5 combined, and in fact, the second cause of death behind accidents in children. So there's still a lot of work to be done. We're making progress, but it's a cause that I think everybody can understand and get around. And it's a cause that needs to help, and that one we can have an impact on. We know, we've seen that we can make progress by investing in the right research and finding cures. So it's an exciting time to be a part of it. The other sort of side note, not to get into too much detail on it, is, you know, childhood cancer researchers rely very, very much on philanthropy and organizations like ours to do their work, more so, much more so than adult cancers do. And that's why it's so critical, the work that we're doing.
Wow. We just commemorated Childhood Cancer Awareness Month back in September. Now, how has Alex's Lemonade Stand been leading the charge in this important time?
For Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, we have a lot of things that happen. So we have two large events. One is a virtual event, which we started 11 years ago when you really had to explain to people what a virtual event was. Nobody understood. Now everybody understands, I think, post, you know, the pandemic. And this was over 20,000 people all across the world, really signing up to run, walk, bicycle miles through the whole month and raise money. So that's a big effort, and it's a great awareness builder because you've got 21,000 people who are doing it and asking their friends and family and going out in their community or posting on social media. And that was our biggest that event has ever been. And then we have a very large event in Los Angeles called LA Loves Alex's Lemonade, also our largest in-person event. We have over 2,000 people attend that event, and chefs from all over the country come and they cook, and we have wineries and all kinds of delicious things there. And people come and enjoy the day. We have an auction and all the sort of traditional things. And that also, we had our best year, and we raised nearly 1.4 million at that event. And that gets a lot of social media love and a lot of attention. So, you know, bringing awareness is important. To me, it's a driver of action, right? People need to know about the cause and how to give in order to make a difference. So we also post a lot on social media about stories of kids with cancer and how people can help.
That's great. That's great. You guys have certainly come a long way since it was founded, but what are your future plans for the foundation?
Well, we always say we're working to put ourselves out of business, but yeah, we're not close to being done. So I would say, you know, our ability to have a larger impact as we're raising more money and taking on larger problems and trying to solve larger problems, you'll see more of that from us, giving out larger grants that are really tackling big topics. We've already done some of that. And then as far as fundraising goes, you know, to continue to really just let people know how easy it is to make a difference for those causes. It's very easy to have a lemonade stand. It's free, you know, to sign up. It's free to sign up for the Million Mile. It's really just kind of, you know, come as you are and do what you can.
Yeah.
Together we can have a big impact.
Wow. Wow. How do you feel, Liz, that your daughter has inspired this movement of good to help other kids and families in, you know, the most difficult time in their lives?
Her story, still to this day, is the reason why so many people are drawn to Alex's Lemonade Stand and want to get involved. Because I think what she showed us is not only inspiring, right, as someone who can overcome so much and look past their own struggles to help other people, but she showed us in her life that this is a cause that needs help, right? And her not being here, I think, speaks to that very much. You know, that she was doing all she could to make sure other kids wouldn't have the chance, would have the chance that she was never going to have. And that's really meaningful to people, and I think it really makes it very real to them. And they feel like, if she can do this, I can do it. So she's very much, you can see her behind me on the wall here. She's very much, you know, her spirit and her story is very much a part of who we are today still.
Her spirit and her story is certainly very much alive. I think she left a legacy at such a young age. It was her story that actually inspired us to reach out and help as well, do what we can. And I'm sure the community, the more they hear about Alex's story, the more they will also be inspired and pushed to also make a difference. You know, anybody can make a difference if there's a willingness and courage and, you know, that spirit of generosity that Alex showed. Certainly such an inspiration to us and to many. And we would like to do our part also for Just Wish Foundation. We want to help out and we want to help spread your story. and we want to applaud you, Liz, for just leading the charge. Help so many people with what you guys do, and we only wish you guys the best. And the foundation to have more opportunities to help more people. So thank you guys. Thank you to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation.
Well, thank you so much. And what you're doing and the work you're doing, I was on your website, is also inspiring. And the idea of giving to so many different causes, but then showcasing them as well, I think is something that's really needed. So we're very grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Liz, and we talk soon.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.